Order and start by reading for pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
These are the minutes that have to be signed by others.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of two of my colleagues, I just want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to do this tonight. For those of you who don't know why we're here, we're very fortunate to live, and certainly not in here in this capacity, but we're very fortunate to live in a place where we have Chief Rio and the Washington Fire Department, Chief Delgrosso, who understand the importance of the coastal waters where we are, and we have several men and women who stand at the ready for emergencies when they occur. And one such emergency call occurred this past August, and anybody who traverses the waters here knows that watch-out passage is no fun on a nice day. Trying to do CPR and use AED is no fun on a boat on a nice day. And these gentlemen did it under treacherous conditions out there, and the Senator and I and the First Selectwoman really want to recognize them tonight. So I'd just like to turn over to Senator Summers briefly to introduce our special guest.
So thank you to the commission for letting us speak for a few minutes. My name is Heather Summers. I'm the senator that has the honor of representing this wonderful district. And I wanted to tell you the story about how this happened. My husband is a heart doctor at the hospital, and he was working on call and called me at home and said, "Heather, have you heard about this amazing rescue?" And he didn't give anybody's name away, just so everybody knows it was HIPAA compliant. But he told me the story about this amazing sea rescue where an individual was on a sailboat with his wife. And Watchell Passage, it got a little rough. Something happened where he was having chest pain. She was diligent enough to be able to make the call, but really couldn't maneuver the boat. I'm not sure I have the story correct, but that's what I got from the hospital. Called for help, and a private citizen came to their aid, along with the Watch Hill Police Department and Fire Department. And there was this heroine rescue. Stonington, I guess it was your Stonington Police Department on the boat went out to also help, but it was so rough that the gentleman had to be cared for on his own boat, so they couldn't jump from one to another. I understand there was people that jumped from the Stonington boat or the Watch Hill boat onto the private citizen's boat to keep this person alive during the whole trip back to the borough where they were offloaded and sent to the hospital. And believe it or not, my husband said discharged the next day. So it was an amazing, amazing rescue. And the hospital themselves were so impressed with the cooperation between Watch Hill and Stonington and how it all just came together, because the outcome, without that kind of cooperation and diligence and training that you all have under the leadership of your two chiefs, the outcome could have been much different. So I am honored here tonight to introduce Rudy to come speak to you today.
I'm very glad to be here. Not necessarily Stonington, Connecticut, or in this police station, but to be here. I realized something when this ordeal taught me was it takes a village to save a life, and in this case, it was a village plus one, my wife, who somehow maintained composure during the whole event, from calling in to talking with the dispatcher to eventually, helping out on the boat with whatever she could do, getting set up with the temperature and class. So I thank everyone. It sounds so insignificant saying thank you for saving my life. You really did save my life. There's no doubt about it. And it's hard to, after that, we call it the event, my wife and I, because we're still having difficulty dealing with this, even a month and a half later. But everybody kicked in. And whether you were part of the team that was on the boat, or you're just part of the EMS, or part of the fabric in this community, you're more responsible for me being here. Because it's this fabric that allowed everybody to function the way they did and saved me. One quick thing. Okay, I don't want to. So, as serious as a heart attack as this event was, and unintended, there were three moments of levity that I think you might enjoy here. The first one was when my wife called it in on Channel 16. Of course, they asked you the location and what the lap lawn. I told her where that was. I was still conscious at this point. She very calmly read off the lap lawn. A few moments later, a couple minutes later, the dispatcher comes back to us. We're on a sailboat, we're not an airplane, and asked us for our lap lawn again, which we had moved virtually nowhere. And so she calmly and once again stated where we were. And a few minutes later, which is kind of funny, someone else got on that channel and asked for our lap lawn. And at this point, Gina very calmly responded yet again to our lap lawn. And she says, oh, and by the way, if you come out of the Watchung Channel and you look east, we are the only boat, the only sailboat on the water. I think you might be able to spot us. And that was the last time anybody called and asked us for our lap lawn. I said, we're done asking those questions about that. So the conditions were rough. It was a beautifully clear day, a lot of wind, and a lot of waves that we're dealing with. We were heading straight into it on the nose, so we were bouncing around. Anyway, the police boat circled first. About 10 minutes after the police boat circled us, they were kind of guiding us in to make sure we followed the proper passages of the channel. The fire rescue team showed up. Me being a sailor of a lot of years, 4 years now, of course, the boats are moving pretty radically between one another, so they were having a hard time. So I go down, I grab from the lock, I grab a docking line, and I'm hoping that I was pretty close to having a heart attack full on at this point. And I handed them the docking line. If you ever wondered what's the last thing you remember, people say they remember the life lesson before their eyes or whatever, something like this happens. The last thought that passed through my mind was how stupid I was. I handed them a docking line without first attaching it to the cleat. And like that's the last thought I had, to be perfectly honest. What a dope. But so sometimes, life isn't fast before your eyes, but just something stupid that you've done. And the last thing, so from that moment on, I was in and out of consciousness. I don't remember anything on the boat. I do remember coming to, and then the ambulance and someone telling me, which I thought was a great thing. They were saying where we were, how much further to the hospital we were, talking to me calmly that I was on my way to be helped. And that was all great. So again, I passed out, and I blacked out. And I came to in the cat lab, and Dr. Franklin was working on it at the time, and trying to clear the blockage. So I'm lying there, now just kind of coming out of a haze of fuzziness and the last kind of moment of the life race feels. Knowing I'm in the cat lab, but the words come out, oh, that's a big one. And typically for a male, or fragile egos, that would be a welcome dog statement. But not in the cat lab. Context has everything to do with it, and that's a big one. It's a bad thing when you're going to come but she saved me. She got the block out, and I'm here today. So I'm going to close now and say once again, it's a village plus one that saved my life. I'll just say it one more time. Thank you very much. I'm here today.
So thank you, Rudy, and your wife. I didn't get your first name from coming all the way from Long Island to be with us today and to honor those who like that part of it. And thank you for your wonderful demeanor, that you did better than probably most of us would do. So now we have some citations that we would like to honor those who are involved.
Thank you, Dee. The Center of the First Selectwoman and I are truly aware of the heroes that walk around this community every day. Whether you respond to an incident or not, we know that you're there, we know that you're ready, we know the sacrifice. So what we've done is the Senate and I have state citations for each of the gentlemen that was involved in this outstanding rescue, and then the first second has town proclamation. Okay. All of ours read the same, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read it and I'll present them one by one. You hereby know to all that the Connecticut General Assembly hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to each of you in recognition of your heroic and life-saving efforts in the water off of Stonington, Connecticut on August 19, 2023. The gentleman aboard the sailboat began to experience a medical emergency before suffering a cardiac arrest. In spite of difficult wind and sea conditions, you were part of a collaborative team that was able to board the vessel and provide life-saving CPR and defibrillation while getting the vessel into port and transferring the patient to the waiting EMS units. As a result of your efforts, significant loss of property was avoided and a life was saved. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued success. Signed this 12th day of October 2023 by Martin Mooney, President Pro Tem of the Senate, our Speaker of the House, Matt Ritter, and our Secretary of State, Stephanie Thomas. For our first presentation, and one thing that Rudy did point out, which is notable, is that the police do always show up first. Nice for you guys joining us. First, Officer Jeffrey Hughes. Officer Troy Powell. And for Marshall Fire Department, Firefighter Thomas Donahue. Firefighter Joseph Perella. Safety Officer John Cagnell. And Fire Marshal Christopher Moore. Thank you so much.
And just to make this really awkward for everybody, what we're gonna do is ask you all to come back up here and do a quick picture. I won't read through all of them, but just to say from our board of selectmen, from you, from and myself, and Chief Girl for Selectmen Stonington, we have commendations for everyone that Greg just read out. So we won't do that again, but we just want to say from the town, and as you so wonderfully put it, it really does take a village, and we want to keep it more than our great partners. We want to really focus on the police department and everybody who's kind of made up this board and helped be part of all of this. So it's a fitting place that we're doing it, and thank you all so much for everything that you did. So if you don't mind, all coming back up a little bit, can do these individually and then just do a quick feedback.
Yes. It's been a good 24 hours.
Yeah, right. All right, we're going to move on to the regular business of the Board of Police Commission. And the first thing on the agenda is remarks of the public. Is there anyone here that wants to say something on remarks of the public that's on the agenda? I see we have former Chief Stewart here raising his hand as always.
Is that right? It's a little foreign for me. Good afternoon, everybody. For the record. Real quick, Danielle hit on a point here about the police commission. It's tough to find something like that when lives are saved. But the support of the police commission gave equipment. They were supportive of that. Some of the people are here, Suzette Tevas, I think Henry Gord was here, Bob Tabor, who almost was the chair, almost the chair. I think he came to support that. But the police, he was almost the chair too, but he doesn't have the name tag. Hard to get away. But the police commission supported a vote many years ago. It was a big ask. Captain Jerry Desmond, God rest his soul, really put a lot of time, effort into it, and I know Captain Schneider's here, who does a great job of that boat to make sure it's ready to go, that they have the right equipment, the right training, the right people on that. It's a lot of work that goes into that. And that sort of has a nautical theme, and that's what Bob has sort of as chair, because this is your last meeting as chair. So you were the longest serving chair in the history of the town from the police commission. You beat out Suzette. I know. So it makes it tough. But in the nautical theme, a ship usually has a captain. It navigates through troubled waters, rough seas, hurricanes, floods, bad weather, in the important calm seas that are out there. But always there to navigate the ship and help it go on its way. And that's sort of what Captain Bob has been about, as the chair of the police commission for many years. We've had our troubled waters. In every police department, you have the trouble in the world, but you have the calm that's there. We need somebody to navigate that ship and help it to go in the right direction. It's a perfect example tonight of having the right equipment and the right people there to do what it's supposed to do. And there's heroes, as Greg talked about, every day here in this building and in the community that do that. And that's what Bob has been about. He was with the U.S. Navy to begin with, I think, 2 years, and then he was with the Connecticut State Police 26 years, 25, as captain. He went out as captain, so he was getting captain of the ship. But he stayed involved in law enforcement because it was important to him, because Maslow's hierarchy of need, what comes first? Safety. You don't have safety in your communities, you have nothing. You don't have education, you don't have anything that goes on. And Bob has always been there to support the police in the right way. looked to him for guidance, for assistance, and he was always there for us. He's helped people his whole life, not only as volunteering in the U.S. Navy, but as a state trooper in the state. And once he retired, he helped with the motorized scooter people, making sure that the disabled had scooters. Volunteers everywhere. He even helped at the Como's Flippin' Burgers. So a couple of you were there as well, helping out. He's always there. He donates behind the scenes to a lot of things, a lot of people. He says no to almost nobody. And he donates his time, most of all, not only to this board, but to, as president of the 100 Club. People don't know what the 100 Club is. The 100 Club provides financial support to law enforcement, corrections officers, and firefighters who died in the line of duty. The Law Enforcement Memorial that supports all the families of fallen officers in Connecticut. He's been on the police commission here, long-serving member, and he also does a lunch and a breakfast every month for old cops. The old cop lunch and breakfast. So I guess I qualify. Like that. But of all, he's been a friend to this community because you've been there for a lot of stuff. You've been there for traffic matters and probably on here tonight. You've had to say no to people, but you've also had to say yes to the good things out here and make things move. It's about making the wheels of the organization go, and that's what you're about. How can we make things better? It wasn't about the negative, it was how do we make things better here? And then that.
Comment. I've known Darren since he's been 19 years old. And he's come a long way. Is there anybody else here in the remarks of the public? Okay, we're going to move on to next thing on the agenda is correspondence. There is no correspondence. Next thing this board has to do is we have to approve our 2024 regular meeting schedule as submitted to your packet. We have a motion from the commission to approve the regular meeting schedule for next year as submitted. So, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Next thing on the agenda is motion Chamber of Commerce.
My name is Rosa. I'm representing the
No,
thank you, Lisa, committee, and your entire team for what you bring to this community, especially during the holiday time. A very busy time. You manage it well. A lot of people that enjoy a lot of things that you don't have. So, as far as this commission, from me, just thank you very much.
And I want to say something quickly because I've seen Lisa Committee out there in all weather, at all hours of the day, at night, on all days of the week, to make sure that the event goes smoothly, to make sure that the public are safe. So thank you for everything you do.
I have one question for you, Lisa. The lobster trajectory has reached international attention. When I see things talking about in England, you've done a great job with that. But are you going to be offering some type of shuttle service or transportation? Can you just tell the commission about that for traffic?
Sure.
You have parking down the road.
So on the tree lighting evening itself, that first night, that is the night that we experience the crush of visitors to our community, which is great, but also comes with some challenges. And so last year we provided a shuttle bus service for a 3-hour period, and we had 3 parking locations, which were Owens Field by the Como. We had the Velvet Mill, and we also had Town Hall. And so for free, the public can get on board a continuous cycle of trolley shuttle buses that are available that we contract through LAD's shuttle service. We have contracted for them again this year. In addition, thanks to some good feedback from our friends in the borough and the government there and the warden, we will be looking to employ 1 officer to help with traffic control on foot, obviously, that night as well.
Chief, do you have any comments or Debbie?
I just want to thank you for all your cooperation with us. You're very good about giving us all the information, being very organized about it, and any questions we have, you're very attentive, getting right back to us, makes it run really smooth. So when I see all your stuff come through, it's very easy to go through it, see it, and I'm very confident of what you present, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you all.
Great. Can I have a motion to approve this event as submitted to the commission, subject to the meeting of the town's insurance requirements and any issue that the police department determines the need prior to the date of the event?
Please, so moved.
Okay.
Just a question, are we approving all of the events?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Yes, second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We already have the insurance. So.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you kindly.
Next on the agenda is the Children and Family Agency of Southeast Minnesota. We're in the phone room. Can you hear about that?
Good evening, thank you for having me. This will be our second annual fun run, 5K walk in the borough. We did one last year in May. This year we're moving it to September. May we did it for mental health awareness. This year we're doing for suicide awareness. This is like the big topic now. And me. So, we're going to starting in at the one plan. But we're going to do the opposite side. We had started on not the main street side, so we're going to start on Main Street this year. It was worked out okay last year, but that was one of the things that the police had asked us and said that would make traffic flow a lot easier. So we were happy to do that. It was our first year. We didn't realize, but that's what we're going to do. And then we'll do the same walk as I believe most of your walks runs do. It's 5K, or it can be a stroll walk where they do one time through, starting on Main Street and going around Matthews and then all the way down to the point and back, and do it twice. The only thing that we asked for this year, and I'm actually, I don't know that it's a great need, and I don't know if it's ever happened before, is if we could put a porta potty out there. We are only there for a few hours, but it was something that was brought up to me by our senior leadership, and so that's something I had actually asked on who also about the porta potty.
Any of the commissioners have any questions for Ms. Appleton?
I just want to thank you. In my day job, my organization, I'm with Connecticut, operates 988, which is the National Suicide Prevention Line. And I'm sorry to say that year on year, in the last year, we had a 60% increase in mental health crisis calls to that line. And part of what it takes is raising awareness that this is a real issue and providing to people the resources outside of police who can help them. So thank you for raising awareness. Thank you for focusing on mental health. Appreciate it.
This event is going to be on September 28th,
September 28th.
which is almost a year away. I mean, I don't have a problem from my perspective about approving this, but if something should come up between now and the 28th, a year away, there could be an impact on it.
Well, because we wanted to be able to get the word out there and get going on getting it organized, so that's why we are doing it so far in advance. We didn't want to go out and say we're having it and then it not be able to happen. I understand that obviously last minute things could happen, but hopefully it won't.
Chief, do you have any questions? I was there last year, I supported it, I was there, participated with my family, guys did a very nice job on it. The only concern is it is it's very spread out, young kids that were participating in it, my son was running in it, walking in it, doing all that, and it was just spread out. I know you had some suggestions, the only thing I ask is that we speak and meet one more time, and then I get the actual map of the area, the streets outline of the map, and go where you want to have the porta potty, you had the very large starting area that took up the whole portion of the street where that's going to sit. More detail than I have here to help me decide, what we're doing when it comes to public safety with the roadways. And also, because it lasts the amount of time that it does, how do we properly work with you to make sure people live in the area can get in and out. And just with limited information, it's a little bit more difficult for me to say, oh yeah, this is all good right now. I will say that last year, again, participating, it was, you guys did a very nice job of the event, and we were happy to participate.
And how soon would you like to speak?
We have a whole year. So, for me, I need that information. I need to make sure my officers are prepared for it. But it's a very low impact in comparison to the events that
we have, so I don't have any concerns that we can't just shake out.
And we did have more walk-ins than we had expected.
Which extends the time, which extends where we are and where my officers are and how long.
Right, but in our first year, so we really were kind of just playing it as best we can. As the clocks rolled, we kind of just tried to come up and get going, but yeah. So thank you.
I may want to reach out to the borough as far as approval for
I
that.
got Monday meeting at the borough.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes submitted to the commission subject to the meeting of the town's insurance requirements and any issues similar with this department coming to meeting prior to the day of the event?
So moved.
Second,
Second?
any discussion? All in favor?
Thank you. Unless you sign this,
This one's for the borough. I want to sign for the borough.
All right, this is the map that we want, that's gonna be helpful for you. That's the map. I know you have a copy of the office map.
Thank you. Next thing on the agenda is the YMCA for the run and the turkey trot.
Hello, my name is Billie Jean King. I am the Health and Wellness Director at the YMCA. I replaced Yola, who moved up to the branch director. This is my first year in terms of being the first year coordinating for those races. I believe I sent out kind of all the emails and forms, so I'm caught up on all of that, requesting information for using EMS services, police, Lawrence Memorial Hospital has been informed, looking to have stations. I have that list here back from Mr. LaFleur on the hours that we're doing the assignment for traffic posts and where we're being posted along Pearl, Cliff Street, which is where the children's fun run is at 1 mile loop. It's the same, the 5.5 miles all the way down to the end of River Road. Turning around before 27, so we can walk off there and actually run over that highway back. So all of that is the same as far as the routes we're going to use and what we're requiring for that support. The date is the 5th of November, so that first Sunday in November is the 5th. Times are the same too, so the little fun run with the kids starts at 12:45. And again, everything starts right around where on Pearl Street, where St. Mark's Episcopal Church, that's kind of where I'll be set up for like awards and tables and packets. And we'll have a couple of Porta John stationed at our DeNovo funeral. I've already put out all of the certificate of liability insurance, so hopefully if all of that's covered for everybody for that. And ham radio spoke to that as well. So we'll have those for radio services. So I'll be aware of checkpoints along the way, first and last runners, etc. So unless anybody has any questions on what's required for that, that should be the same other than just the date.
Does this come on to any of the running roads? Okay.
Just the traffic.
Traffic.
So you contacted Groton Town Police
Correct,
Department
yes.
and the state permit for the.
I wouldn't have asked them about that.
Yes, and I've already submitted all of that, so, but I'll do follow-ups, just to make sure yes.
Figure a motion. Well, we really don't have anything to approve here.
Right,
Except for the church and
correct.
But the
Turkey trot.
The turkey trot, we have to go through that.
Okay, good, I just want to make sure we're aware that, I checked ahead of time just to make sure we aren't planning on going on 27, but we still want that, just to move the block off. Yeah, yes, correct. But turkey trot, so it's the same, then again, it's on the 23rd, that's actually Thanksgiving Day. Early in the morning, same time, 7:30, we're kind of doing all the arrangements, 8:30 kickoff. It is a 5K, so we're starting at the YMCA and going Mason Island. Mason Island goes down 1.5 miles and turning around and coming back. So that's all the same. So that's the only main road there that we're going on. And again, that's kickoff at 8:30 and expect to be done by.
Any questions you have? Chief, do you have any comments?
Yes. So, last year we had other events that are going on and that puts a lot of stress on our department.
Okay.
We asked for us to understand how many people are actually running in the event.
Okay.
That last year was, we stated that we don't want any same day registrations. We
Okay.
can have a
Right.
large amount of people come that day, a lot more accustomed to doing that.
Right.
And then we have no idea how many are actually running the
Okay.
race, and that becomes difficult for
So
us.
you wanna try to do a cutoff before, so when do you guys usually need, like, that's a Thursday, is Wednesday or Tuesday, the day before Thanksgiving, enough time to say this is our final number, 417,
It
or
is,
whatever it
because
is?
it's just, because that day, if we are expecting 100, but there's 200,
Yeah.
and you have to, it's
Right.
impacted us when we're doing so many other things that we
Yeah.
have to get through here that we're trying to really get a lot of events in town throughout the year and to make sure that we handle it. So it's not stressful for our officers that they're actually providing that safety.
Right, I understand. Okay, I'll give you, a general right now is about 400, but I'll definitely, as registration started to open up for it, in kind of every week.
What do you
that number is.
I have to discuss with the people that run the event, but it's also, we have no objection to saying that.
Right.
We have up to 50 more can sign up on that.
Okay,
You know what I
okay,
mean?
yeah, we just
Some
have a
events
cap now,
have
we
some,
tell
you
you our
know.
cap, sure, yeah, all
I
right.
know, I don't wanna, I know some people in town are just used to this, we come that day and we do it, that's what we've always done. I want you to have your event to be successful, but I just wanna have some type of organization.
Yeah, but if I put that out, I think it's important for them to know, everybody who participates to know there is,
Yeah.
it's important to have
Anticipate
that.
400, but you wanna be able to have capacity for 5 and say we have a limit of 50 signups per, day of, it just gives us that much.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
And you heard from Natalie about changing the verbiage on the insurance certificate, right?
No, I don't think she told me anything to be changed, but I can call it.
And we sent out emails to all the event organizers,
Okay.
you know, did you receive the email from that? You should have, but
So I probably, I've seen a couple, so.
so what happens with it now is we're reading all the information on our website, so you can see all the events,
Okay,
what we did for last year, it'll show you absolutely
Okay.
every single piece of information you need to submit,
okay,
age requirements,
Right,
everything
right.
right there.
okay, yeah, I'll get back with her, I think I had sent it
But
over.
if you, yeah, but if you just get on the site, you can see everything now, we're trying to make it easier.
Yeah,
for you now.
okay.
What happened is they just, Stone Department of Police, and they need to be the town,
Oh, okay,
so that needs to be the town.
okay, all right, I will go back to Judy and have her do that.
So one of the issues in the past was that the advertisement online for the race stated that you could register on site that day.
Right,
And it becomes a problem when, if you do have a limit for that day and people can't register, they're going to run in the race for free. That they're not gonna leave, they're going to run. So the safest bet would be no same day registration. That way you have an idea of how many numbers that you're gonna be dealing with, and so do we. So it just, it's a little bit of a.
yeah, I'll get back with you on that, we'll make sure that we're putting out marketing wise, that our members are clear and non-members clear. Thank you.
And for the, it'll be nice for them all to know well in advance, so they don't have any issues.
Right, and there's no reason to complain, like we already told you.
And thank you for the events and the Thursday round, and
Okay,
do
yeah,
a nice job in the turkey trucks.
right, okay.
Okay, have a motion to approve the event submitted to the commission, subject to meeting the town's insurance requirements and any issues with this proposal, and if any prior to the date of the event. So moved. Second,
Simple.
any discussion? All in favor?
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On E, as a planning and zoning regulation, text amendment application for all, anyone have that?
You know, I thought I came the first time, I came the second time, and good to see you.
Yeah.
So we agreed to go to a lawyer and redraft the language for the town, because the town said it would take them 3 years to do it. So I secured a lawyer who's familiar with the process. We worked on the Valenti property application as well. And we submitted it, and we were told that the language that we provided them with was appropriate. And, when we come see you guys today.
Well, the only thing that I have when I read with Rich Cody wrote, I have a disagreement with something that's in there. And that is his assumption, is error, because we do believe that the law is that a property owner is presumed to own to the center line of a roadway, meaning that land on both sides of the street is contiguous. I don't think that property owners own town town roads.
Well, actually, there was a congressional ruling on that. It went to the Supreme Court, and they found that it's a Roman term, a Latin term, for ownership is to the stars and to the center of the earth. So it assumes that the town owns the tar, not necessarily what's under that. And we didn't take that route. We could have said, all right, look, it's already been ruled on by the Supreme Court. So we went down this road instead. We can always go there if we need to, but we didn't think it was necessary. The town really wanted to get language that would keep everybody out of court. And, you know, $2,000-3,000 later, this is the paragraph that I'm submitting to you. But that was why you mentioned it. He said we chose not to go down it. Because all that does is put you back in the litigation. Not good for anybody. So because we have so much land on both sides of the road, 500 feet is just a portion of it that's connected. But it's 500 feet is a lot of roadway to have property on both sides.
I know the deputy was out there also, and you gave him right around, right?
Yeah, he got the tour. But I think you've seen other progress there on the road. I've opened up, I've made parking places for both the EMT vehicles at the gravel road, and I've continued that process on the south side of the property to where a police vehicle, a parking vehicle, if you need to have presence there, it's a place to park. I've begun a pretty aggressive effort to rebuild the stone walls on both sides of the road, which has required me to regrade from the edge of the road to the stone walls, which is eliminating the need for those wooden guardrails that keep getting knocked over on that hard turn. So the more of that I do, the less you have to put those up, and it's a safer road, especially on a hard turn. I actually went to the Roads and Bridges department. They said I had to come to the police to say we don't need some of those any longer, which is true, we don't, because the grade goes all the way into the stone walls. And my plan is to continue to do that in both the north side and the south side of that hard turn. I secured another 1/10 of an acre on the east side of the road, just before you get to the gravel road coming from the north, in order to put information signage there about the Wheel Homestead being the next right-hand turn. So now I own that piece of land, we can put that sign up. It's really not good for anything other than signage and information pieces for the homestead. So we continue to, it's like an elephant, you know, you can eat it, but you gotta only take one bite at a time to get through that. And that's kind of where we are with the project at the homestead.
Any commissioners have any questions?
I have one, when you talk about events, and potential evening events, would there be any crossing the street during the event?
It wouldn't be any issue because the events are all gonna be on the west side of the property behind the homestead. You wouldn't even see the tent. You've got a 14,000 square foot structure between the barn and the old homestead, screening that whole area, and then you've got 150 acres of hardwoods between the tent and what is called the Raleigh Estates.
I was just more concerned that people were crossing the road.
No.
Because they're not.
No.
The reason you're doing tonight is comments on the amendment that you proposed. You gave those funds, before we never approved the event, that you're gonna have to come back to us for that particular section.
Well, I have to go next week to the zoning.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll come back to the staff.
We enjoy it.
So who will I have to talk to start eliminating some of those posts? Because it does make it more difficult for me to get the tractor in there and level that land.
Probably would be DPW with something.
They told me to come to you.
Oh, they did, okay. Well, I think it would be a combination between us and them to decide whether they're needed or whether they just stay because they're there.
Yeah, I'm kind of done for the season with that work. It's so wet down there, I can't even put these. I gotta wait till the fall, up to the winter, hard winter. Well, I'll come back. Anything else?
No, I'd like to have a motion to pass along to the zoning, planning and zoning, that the police commission sees no, issues with the amendment as submitted, by the applicant. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
We'll send it on.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bill, you're up. Bill Mendel.
Good evening. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Bill Middleton. For those of you that know me, my name is still Bill Middleton. I appreciate you fitting me on the agenda this evening. I'm here to do a site plan review for the hotel that was previously known as the Broadway Inn, and many years ago, depending on your perspective, the Old Mystic Motor Lodge. So we provided site plans. I don't know. They got distributed, but here's some, just in case for your reference. Basically, what we're doing is sort of not much. Trying to clean the place up. It was built in 1965 like me. So we use a do-over. We're not changing the entryway from the road. The DOT has made a lot of noise about doing that sometime in the next couple of years, so we'll address that at that time. What we have done is change the traffic pattern on the property a bit to allow access to the rear lot, which was previously sort of not really accessible. And then we took the pool, which had lovely I-95 views, and we're moving it out front. So that changes the traffic pattern a little bit. We've shifted the entryway around from the north to kind of the northwest, just to make that traffic pattern work. So I don't know in terms of traffic and flow or whatnot, if you have any questions about that or any thoughts.
No, I think that everything you've done here is internal to the intersection.
Yeah.
And I don't see any issue with that personally. I ask the other commissioners for how they're feeling. But you know, hopefully, we'll get that changes from the state of Connecticut. The chief and I and, vice chair have been out there and met with you guys, talked about changes in the intersection. Would be a great improvement in traffic safety, but as you said, dealing with the state of Connecticut.
Yeah, we don't really have much purview, and anything that we would want to do there, we would have to jump through some pretty significant hoops to get done.
Any commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
Well, I just want to some things out there when stuff state Connecticut, maybe after stuff that maybe, what is it, 2024 or 2025, but just to make sure that it's consistent with what they're doing, that we don't have a cluster once they start doing their project and it's not consistent with where they are.
No, we've had lots of dialogue with them and with you guys all along the way. So, a lot of changes that we thought, probably should happen, they thought should happen too, so that works out. Improved pedestrian access, all of those things. So, I think we're all on the same page there.
We're going to use the number of units that are within the building, correct?
No, we'll stay the same. Yeah.
But just,
Only parking.
yeah, there's no impact that way whatsoever. All the projects that you've done, you do a very, very nice job.
Thank you.
With it, so I don't have any concerns.
On that note, I just want to thank you. You've done some great work to help build the local economy, and that's jobs, and that's a thriving community. We all know that there are lots of towns in the Northeast that are beautiful and boarded up. And it takes a lot to keep the community going, to keep people employed. And so thank you for all the work you do.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
My waistline, thank you. Is there still in the plan a place for a substation in this whole area? Didn't you talk about that?
We had made the existing lobby available for quite a while. We don't have anything baked into this, but we can certainly.
Can I have a motion to pass along the planning and zoning, the police commission sees no issue with this application that relates to traffic, safety, and parking?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Bill, you're all set. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the big one. Appreciate it.
Good luck, Bob. Thank you.
Lighted boat parade and Santa arrival by Duco.
Good evening, everybody. I'm here to play the Light Boat Parade. Last year, was a doozy, of people. Traffic was in with a standstill at times, and the next night we had a very bad fire. And so I was talking to the police chief about making sure that it's safe moving forward. So coming to find out and talk about what the traffic pattern wants to be, and if there's a desire from the commission or the chief of police to limit access on that road at a certain time. And so I had to find that out so I could present a final plan at the next meeting before the light of open.
My suggestion, Bruce, is that you get together with the deputy and the chief and talk about those issues. They'll help you with the plan that will be consistent with the traffic problem we had last year. That kind of happened the way it did, otherwise I'm sure many people would have been injured. So we have to deal with that. So, Chief, do you have any comments?
No, we've talked about a lot of it. You're very receptive to everything. You want to have safe and a successful event. And that only happens with cooperation that we always get from you, the open dialogue, which we appreciate. And I don't have any, some of the changes that we're going to make with having officers there well before to make sure the traffic can't get the way it you see your defense on that is you couldn't predict how big this event has gotten. Yeah, it's a very successful event. We'll make it work.
Whether we did last year, and one thing we did do this year, we've already secured Seaport Marine's parking lot, so that we'll have that for parking section of the lot. They were very cooperative.
Are we planning any viewing areas other than what we had last year, or any type of stands or seats or anything like that?
So we had not, we've talked about it. I believe that Seaport Marine, with where the buildings used to be, there'll be a good viewing for people, so that will help.
Okay.
And we'll also in the plan make sure that we have the light gate on the boardwalk again. As we did last year.
Any other questions for the applicant?
No, Super Marine, can the chamber make some money on that parking?
Yes, we're trying to do that. We share it with the Knights. And so we're gonna try and we're gonna bring in local nonprofits to work with. So we're sharing that for them. And we do that with our customers.
Thank you very much for your audience. The chamber commission looks forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you. Just want to say thanks and appreciate everything you've done for us and pleasure to work with and wish you luck. You guys have fun.
Can I ask another one question? How does it look for this weekend?
All right.
Double thumbs up.
Double thumbs up?
Yep.
That's good. Is it
We
going
have,
to
the rain's gotten pushed down a little bit, and the program will start at 1 with the aquarium, and then fireworks at 7:30. Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You guys.
Next item is all business. This is the Mission Street proposal. They want to come back in and provide some additional information. They were here last month, on changing Mission Street to one-way. So we're going to come back in November to discuss that. We're ready to plan, so we're going to table that till next month. Under traffic, we have a couple of traffic things. So one is we have a request for two stop signs, one east on School Drive and one north on School Lane. If everybody, you want to think about that, please?
So essentially, it's a large intersection with, our curb, I should say, with some driveways, and it's uncontrolled. People are just kind of zipping around the intersection in both, or the corner in both ways, creating a little bit of a hazard. There are a lot of people, pedestrians, a lot of kids that play in that area, and a lot of people walking around the neighborhood. So to make it as safe as we possibly can. Having 2 stop signs to control the vehicles going through so they don't just kind of speed around the corner, would make that whole area quite a bit better.
And I have a motion to direct the, police chief to make arrangements for public works to put those stop signs in place. So, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next thing under traffic is an email request for no parking side of the corner of Hillside Avenue extension and focus is in the.
Hi, my name is Jill Senior. I'm the director of solid waste and recycling for the town of Flemington. I'd like the board to consider recommending no parking sign on Hillside Avenue in Pawcatuck at the foot of Hillside Avenue extension. Mr. Crandall is having a lot of trouble getting to Hillside Avenue extension because of cars that are parking on Hillside Avenue. Just recently, they went 2 weeks without trash pickup. It's a problem. I do send one of my guys with a pickup truck, but they're out opening their housing up there, and it's a lot of trash. I think it would also be a problem for other utility and emergency vehicles that may need to get up to the end of Hillside Avenue extension. I gave you a little picture. The second picture shows you where they're parking the cars. The cars usually go on by 10 or 11 a.m., but they park all along there. That second picture is the bushes of trim that you notice in the first picture, that the bushes extend into Hillside Avenue, so the cars are actually in the road even further. So I think a no parking sign there would help us greatly, and allow Mr. Crandall to get up to the top so he can service the houses.
Do the commissioners have any questions?
If we just put the no parking sign there, is there any way we can give consideration to time periods of when?
Actually, the statute says that you can't park within 25 feet of a intersection corner anyway. So,
But it wasn't that.
Yeah, so we'll allow some parking for those, that's a
Could,
consistent.
if it wasn't that close to the corner, that is.
Any other questions? Motion to divert the chief to make arrangements for call one for the no parking sign at the intersection.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
in favor?
Thank you.
Last thing on the calendar is, email request for the borough. Anyone here to talk about that?
Yes, 2 of us, I'm not sure if Kevin understood the second comments. My name is Michael Shepherd, I'm Borough Warden, I apologize for my children here, I just returned from vacation, and Amy is just going on to vacation, so she's so anyway, we have had during the summer speed concerns, and Amy has been working with Todd on addressing that and putting up the speed lights and the counts and how fast people are going. This summer was really great. We did place one at just after High Street as you come into the borough, and there was a sign that says, reduce your speed. People could see it really significantly reduced the amount of speeding at that going into on Water Street, going into the borough commercial section. But what people do is there's a tendency to speed right, get back at speed. And we've had issues, people complaining, merchants complaining about the amount of speed, even after installing that people have a tendency to accelerate after even saying it's not. So we thought we might actually consider maybe testing. I talked to the chief. He is open to possibly, installing them in the street, and if they would be accommodating to the.
So, as far as it goes, those streets that you're going to make decisions, and just so we're clear on that, I don't decide.
Sure, okay, I'm sorry. I was looking at.
No, that's okay. I have to make sure it's in there.
No, I think it's really, what we're asking for is whether the police and the chief can test, I mean, a typical soft cushioning speed bump and install it eventually in the road. So I think the first step would be, is the chief and the police department, willing to, test it? And are you guys willing to be?
What we discussed is the fact of the town, if anything was gonna happen of the nature when it comes to humps, bumps, anything that you wanna call it, that the town itself has to look into what's appropriate, not appropriate, get all the information so they can provide it to the board of police commissioners so they can make an educated decision, because whatever they decide on affects the whole town, because, they get these questions all the time. So I reached out to the town to let them know that these questions might be, posed to you to get, to figure out what you know about it, what you don't, for you to get all the information you can, so you can get as much as you can to the board of police commissioners, so they can make an educated decision. Because whatever they decide is not going to work out.
Okay, so we should evaluate product potentially and present it to the commission as a potential.
And again, I don't make any of the decisions on doing the testing or anything like that. It's getting as much information as you can to provide to the board of police commissioners so they can make an educated decision on what they decide to do.
Can I ask a question though? I'm just concerned about the fact that, I think that your expertise and the deputy's expertise in what works and doesn't work is really important. So it's great at Michael able to do research, but you're the police, experts that we would turn to. The previous chief, who has now left the room, but the previous chief had very strong opinions on, speed bumps. What's being proposed is different than what we've discussed before. But I think it would just be important that we have a discussion about whether there is a mechanism that we think could be effective or not. I think mine will to go away and do a bunch of research to come back if we don't believe there's something that could be effective.
So it's already been proposed is that the state of Connecticut has come up with items that they do to slow traffic when it comes to these temporary type things. And they are already rated and put together what happens. What happens with the town highway department needs to determine if it can go in there and when it could be in there, how it affects snow plows, all those other things, all of the testing that's going on. I'm not an expert when it comes to speed bumps and how they work. I don't need all that information. I'm not asking for him to do research. I'm asking for him to saying that the best way to move forward on it is to find out from the town highway department, what are your considerations, what are your thoughts, have you experienced before, what's happening, the state of Connecticut DOT, what I've already looked and see what they have, what they prepared, and what they use. Other towns have used it, and where they use it, how they use it, and to get whatever products they are, and to do that and bring forward. I'm not, speed bumps are not my expertise on what happens and what doesn't happen. But I'm okay with speed bumps, it just slows people down. I'm okay with stop signs, all those things, and I have no problem saying, if you're looking in this area and we want to test a product for us to work together, we're going to help them to do that. All I'm telling everybody is, if there's a product out there, they've done all the research, testing, everything else is there. Let me know what you're thinking, put it forward, let the town determine if that's something we can do in this town. Sometimes the products are made for different zones, weather zones. It's not just you have to have all that information before I think you make a decision if something goes somewhere or doesn't go somewhere. But you can ask anything you want of me or anything you want of them. It's not my realm to say what you think it's yours. And I didn't want to take a step in a direction that's not my authority.
I just don't understand the temporary nature of it, and who owns it, who puts it out, who brings it in, things like that.
Well, one of the considerations is because we have so much traffic in the summer, and they are potentially in interference with snow. In talking to Sue, she would hope that it would be removable for the winter months when there's.
So then you have the biking traffic and see how it affects the You have to see how it affects the manufactured scooters that you have. The kids are all on their electric scooters that are going through and not going through. You have to find out what distance it is from the crosswalks. You have to find out, all those things. Who is responsible for putting it in, taking it out? And those are all questions that I'm sure that you guys are all gonna be asking. And it's,
The other issue is also the exact location. This memo that we got is very vague, not very specific, number one. Number two, there have been new cases where bicycles, they had a case in Haven where speed bumps and speed pads and bicycles did that. And sued the city of London, city of Haven. So there's a liability aspect of it also, so on this town and city roads. The other issue is you mentioned Bayview Avenue. In the past, we have had issues with Bayview Avenue. We put signs down there and we sent enforcement down there and we found out there was no problem. So I think we need to develop more information, hard details, exactly are there streets. And when we did go out there and we wound up doing enforcement, most of the people with the tickets are people who live there. So I mean, I think we need some more additional information. Stephanie, what if the street signs say that we put in place?
The speed signs have been very effective in slowing down vehicles, and the data coming off of the speed signs have indicated that there isn't a speeding issue, but also because they're effective. The law-abiding citizen operating a vehicle will look at it and say, if they happen to be speeding, they'll say, oh, I better slow down, and then they slow down. Eventually it becomes a blur if it sits there too long and people zip by it, not, maybe they think there's a camera on it, whatever it may be, but they're effective, but they're not a permanent solution.
and if I may, any type of temporary doesn't affect the town that the way when it comes to snowfalls and whatnot. And if it's safe for everybody that's using the area, I would actually have no objection, think yes, it will slow people down. Yeah, I'm in Rockland in areas that are adjacent to places where I live, that's very effective on the street, and the next street is they're fine, down that street. They are effective, it's just putting them forward. I need, a lot of information to know what they're saying.
So my suggestion is that the table is to come back, to provide the commission additional information, work with the cabinet committee to put some more speed signs out there, to get some more data, and hopefully come back and make a decision based on the information you develop in conjunction with the town.
And I can give you everything the state has and what they allow and they don't allow. I've already spoken to the town highway department and spoke to them about what the thoughts are and whatnot, because what's going to happen is whatever's decided with you, I think it's more appropriate that the commission has all the information, so when it's asked for in different areas in the town, you have everything up, you know what your decision and your thought process is on it. I just don't think you should revisit it continuously, that's okay now.
If there's any further questions.
Yeah, and I'll give you also, I have, I'll give you the, information that the town has, but I still think that the town highway needs to have that. They went over a bunch of different things that,
The chairman of Chauncey's point, you may want to reach out to whatever attorney you use in the borough, just to see if they say, absolutely not, you're opening a door, or, we're not having that in trouble.
So, table, and it would be my intent to come back a month to give you an update next month.
yeah, and just call me and we'll set up a time and I'll make sure you get
And I'll make sure it is back.
Thank you, Mr. Bill, I just want one comment basically, and I was just curious, from the borough residents as a whole with whether residents are in favor or not in favor of speed bumps in the community. And I like the idea of the temporary, like the summer season, when there's a lot of people coming and going that are not borough residents. But my concern is that we would be penalizing sometimes the flow of traffic for residents that have to go that way each day in speed bumps where they weren't before. So they're almost being, hindered over the situation of safety. You know where I'm going with that? So I understand the need because they're speeding and you want to correct the speeding, but there's other ways in which that could be handled as well. I don't know if speed bumps always are the answer, because sometimes it's just very much an inconvenience for the people that are coming home from work today.
In my observation of borough traffic and speeds, I think the issues are in the commercial section of the merchant side to slow down people. And I think again on Bayview potentially are issues there. I think like on Main Street, we just did the numbers on Main Street, no problem with speeding. But there are certain areas, and again, we're concerned about the amount of speed going into that.
Then we get the hard data, it's very difficult even for law enforcement officers training, tell the speed of it, what appears to be high speed and not be, and we've seen that in a lot of cases in where we use speed time.
And we have seen that in the numbers. Great.
And just speaking as a borough resident to that point, let's remember that the speed limit is actually 20 miles per hour. So as somebody who drives in and out of the borough every day, which I do in my bus, I don't think the speed bump would bother me. What is troubling to our residents, including myself, is the fact that late at night in the summer, we have cars come tearing down Water Street, flying through the borough at speeds that if there's a child walking a dog, it's really problematic. It's not all day. The speed signs help, but there's definitely something that's happening there. But I don't think, and Kevin Rogers is also a resident, if you're really going 20 miles an hour, that speed bump can bother you, don't think.
Well, we appreciate your
Sorry, Kevin,
future
I'm gonna
consideration, and we appreciate your input.
Next is I need a motion to approve the minutes for the Thursday, September 7th, 2003, regular meeting that was submitted in your packet. So moved. Second. Any conversation? All in favor? Report of the chief.
As far as doing the budget report, we're on track with everything. We have our new RMS system. We're doing a lot of the training coming up to that. We have a lot of the firearms trainings going on. So our training budget's on track where it needs to be, and our overtime budget's on track where it needs to be. The 3 in the academy, that becomes the outlier, how much it's going to cost to get to pay some travel expenses. It's not putting there, they're traveling back and forth, meaning that we have to pay overtime when it comes to an elderly and half prior to getting there. And also they're doing going to go over a little bit because it's budgeted, it's not budgeted for 3 academies at the same time. So we're watching that and monitoring that, but it's a pretty big after that. We have some new lineups that came in for projects. We've been working on projects, and that's the good news we have is that we have our officer that's going to part of the electronic evidence lab that we're trying to put together and work on. He's actually traveling now down to Hoover, Alabama, for the 4 weeks of training on one of those items that he's paid for. What's that? Yeah, it's the trainings, the housing forum, the food forum, the air flights for him, all the education, everything is part of that program we discussed before, so that's moving forward. So budgetary, I'm comfortable with it. And special events, I am concerned how taxing the fireworks were last year, how it's been a lot this year with us, and these larger events are very taxing on the department. And also the concern is the amount of housing projects that are proposed, the amount of units they have. And if you look at just the Threadmill and you look at just the one on 78, you're looking at 300 plus units. When you add them all together, if they're all approved, and I think the central RMS system is going to help us with finding out, what our call item is and whatnot. If you look at just, depending on what type of housing it is, sometimes the housing is for an elderly community, which is taxing for us, and sometimes it is just, you condense units, and you have so many in one spot, it causes a lot of calls for us too. There's a lot of development that's looking on the horizon. And I think that's something that the police commission and the police department need to pay attention to that, and we'll be well ahead of the curve on it. We do have one position officer that retired who's off the books now. We're trying to fill that position. Our recruitment videos, one's finished, it came out great, and the other 3 to come out. We're excited about that and pushing forward with it. But the other thing we talk about now, and I will talk about a lot, we have very senior officers in this department, a large number, and these retirements are going to come before we all know it, before all we are off the board, and it's going to be a huge push to fill them. We can have 3, 4, 5 leave at a time, which is a lot for a 40-man department. You all have to pay attention to it. We've been paying attention. We've been working on it really hard. They did change the retirement system for the state when it comes to savings for the town. When it's a It's more difficult for me because now they reduce some of the, COLA, percentages for our officers, and by doing that, it's hard for me to keep them. It's hard for me to convince them to stay, when they're eligible for retirement. That is something I'm up against now, I'm working on a project trying to get some type of incentive in place to keep them. And they'll all start coming soon. What the state has experienced, departments are experiencing all over. Chiefs that I talked to are offering bonuses, they're offering changes in retirement, they're doing all kinds of things because they're in places more. We're not there. I don't know if we'll be there. I know that if we do get there, we'll be prepared for it, and that's what we're working on doing now.
Any questions for the chief on the report? Motion to accept the report of the chief? So moved. Second?
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Moving on to the consent agenda. On the motion to approve the consent agenda as handed out. So moved. Second?
Second.
Before we adjourn, I just have a couple of comments from myself. Since being appointed as some position 7 years ago by first Selectman Robinson, it's really been a privilege to serve on this commission. Serving with the former chairman, Larry Holt, Pat McCosker, Rachel Bachowski, and Henry Gore, has shown me that this commission has always acted in a manner that is good for both the Stonington Police Department and the town of Stonington. And also working with vice chairs that never made it, Bob Elmer and Bob Tabor, who are both here tonight. Lately, there's been comments about reallocation of funding for the department, which is commonly referred to as the fund of police. The funding the police may go down as the most misguided and foolish political slogan in American political history. The reason that Stonington is a safer community is because of the men and women who served on our department. Success here in Stonington has been due to the leadership of former Chief Darren Stewart, our current Chief Jake Del Corso, as well as Deputy Chief Olson and Captain Schneider. With the new growth taking place here in Stonington, expansion of Perkins Farm, the Glendon project on Route 2, proposed affordable housing in Lower Orleans, just name a few, we're not going to reduce the Stonington Police Department, but increase the number of officers. The Commissioner has met its challenge with professionalism and objectivity of all who have come before it. And I believe that the current Commission, under the leadership of Chairman Bill Turner, will continue in a similar manner, and I thank them for their service. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn. That's my favorite one.